Terra Luna Classic fam, we have only 4 days to decide the future of our ecosystem. You need to act right now. Let's talk about what's happening. There's currently this proposal that is live for voting right now for the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem to determine if we want to use the L1 task force going into Q2, or maybe we want to actually determine and decide that we want to go with an alternative task force proposal like this one. However, both these proposals, you can see this one ends in 4 days and the other one also ends in 4 days, which means that we need to decide in the next 4 days who we want to develop the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem going forward. Now, both of these different proposals have their pros and cons. We have 2 different dev teams that are being proposed, different pricing budgets that vary slightly, as well as slightly different plans for Q2 going forward for the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. But the biggest thing I want to point out to you guys is this line right here. This is for us to reach quorum, which means that we have to have 40% of the vote come in. If we don't reach quorum, we don't actually get to determine whether this vote passes or not. So in this example, this proposal currently has majority yes votes, but if we do not reach quorum, this will not be active. This will not go into effect. First, we have to reach quorum, and then it determines whether it is a yes or no vote on the proposal. So it's really important for you guys to make sure, regardless of whether you want to support this or not for both these different proposals, go into voting, click vote, yes, no, abstain, no with veto, whatever you think, but it's up here in this top corner. Make sure you participate in governance, because if we get neither of these that pass, well, then we're really screwed, because then neither dev team is going to be able to go forward. We'll have to have new proposals come forward, probably changes on those, and which we're just going to keep going and going without any dev work going on for weeks and weeks on end potentially. So this is something that we need to decide in the next 4 days here. We need to determine, do we want this proposal that I'm showing you right now that has the previous L1 task force with some modifications? Zardar no longer going to be on the team. Obviously, kind of a debated topic in the community. Some people love him, some people hate him, but he is moving on from Terra Luna Classic. He is no longer going to be part of the L1 task force. Or this other proposal with different developers. Some developers that we've not really seen before, Bilbo Baggins. Jacob Gadikin is no longer actually wanting to be on this proposal, so he will no longer be an active participant in this proposal, which means it's going to save some money. You're going to save about $15,000 according to this, which will decrease the price that they're requesting. You can see right now they're requesting for about half up front, so roughly 426 million total Terra Luna Classic up front, and then the other half at the end, and that would be adjusted down, I believe, based on the fact that Jacob's no longer going to be participating. And then this other one's about just shy of 1 billion Terra Luna Classic for this other dev team proposal. So we have some differences there, about, what is that, roughly 150 million Terra Luna Classic difference, depending on how things end out at the end of the day with Jacob leaving. Now, as far as the previous L1 task force, we did receive this tweet from LUNC Burn Army the other day. Q1 has been completed under budget. As promised, we have returned all budget surplus from Q1, which totals to about 200 million Terra Luna Classic, and the funds have been sent back to the community pool. They included this transaction right here, so you guys could see this transaction going through. We could also see the community pool on this burn and build page, where you guys can find all kinds of data for Terra Luna Classic. You can see we saw a spike up in the community pool balance the other day when these funds were returned. And so I think this is a great sign that this previous L1 task force didn't just decide to pocket the money and run away with it, as we've seen some things happen similar to that in the past. Instead, they said, hey, we had excess money above and beyond what we needed, and so we're going to return that back to the community. That's great, because the community paid them an amount to complete work. So in theory, they could have maybe kept it. It's a little bit of a gray area there, and we have seen people do that in the past in ways that were kind of wrong. But the fact that they're willing to go ahead and just return these funds, I think, is a good sign for the community. And so if you want to support the future of Terra Luna Classic, go ahead and vote. Get this voting power, total votes in over 40%, so we can reach quorum. That way we can know, do we like these different proposals, yes or no? We need to have the community come out and vote, because right now, this is a small percentage of the Terra Luna Classic community that's actually voting this proposal. But there's also other ways that you can help support the Terra Luna Classic future by supporting Terra Luna Classic burns, which we are continuing to trek along and move forward with. We're not, going ahead and jumping with billions burns every single day, but we are moving forward with increased burn rates. You can see going over 53 billion total Terra Luna Classic burn. We've been seeing some nice steady movement in the Terra Luna Classic burns moving up over the past roughly month and a half. And this is mainly helped in large part by today's sponsor, Cremation Coin, who has come in right now 7th largest Terra Luna Classic burner, probably going to be going to the 6th largest Terra Luna Classic burner next week. They're currently burned on this one wallet over 330 million Terra Luna Classic, which is more than most people even hold, and they right now have an opportunity for you to help support the Terra Luna Classic burns if you want to get involved in their Ethereum fair launch. Now, as always, before investing in anything, make sure you guys are extremely careful. Make sure you do your own research, do your own due diligence before getting involved in this. But this has a unique opportunity with the fair launch, in my opinion, because the way that the fair launch is setting the price is that people who buy in determines the price. So the amount of ETH that they raise, currently about 21.5 Ethereum. If they raise more Ethereum, the price will be higher. If the Ethereum stays lower, then the price will be lower. So you, as the investors, if you want to buy into this project, get to determine the price of this project. They have some of the information for the tokenomics right here if you guys want to check that out. And they also have more information on their website, which I'll have linked in the description down below. But you can see the pre-sale is allocated about 29% of the total supply, which means if you're buying into this, there's a probability that you could get a nice chunk of the cremation total supply. And if you want to learn more about what the Terra Luna Classic burns could actually accomplish, check out this video up here, and I'll catch you on the next one.